what we have here is a very, very interesting personal computer. On the surface, it doesn't even look like a personal computer, other than the HP badge, of course. Unfortunately, this camera does not refocus while it's recording. Beyond, I don't even know if I can. Oh yeah, I can. I can put it into close-up mode. You see, it's an HP Digital Entertainment Center model Z545. Take a look. Double layer DVD plus minus R/RW recorder, which is a weird way of saying that, but it works, I guess, with light scribe capabilities. There's the power switch right there. Underneath here, we have inputs. Even has a DV in. There's a headphone jack, microphone input. Take a look here. We have a card reader with a couple of USB 2.0 ports. Underneath here is actually a personal media drive bay, which unfortunately I don't have. I'm thinking about possibly getting one of those, because I think it would be a neat thing to play with. Do not block vents. You know, it kind of amazes me that there's not more stereo equipment that doesn't have vents like that. I think it would certainly be beneficial for some pieces of stereo gear that get obscenely hot. This thing's not lightweight. It's actually very heavy because the whole thing basically is made out of steel. The faceplate's plastic. I think the springs on this are a little weak, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and flip it around and we'll take a look at the back. As you can quite clearly see, this was definitely a home theater PC. Check this thing out. There's your AC input for the power supply. It has composite audio inputs, digital audio out, both optical and coax. Looks like a 7.1 surround output as well, if you wish to use that. 4 more high-speed USB 2.0 ports. Now, don't scoff at that, because this machine was released in 2004. Back then, USB 2.0 was high-speed. There's a 6-pin 1394 port. It has gigabit Ethernet, which in 2004 was a nice thing to have. There's all your video outputs. It can do component out, composite video, as well as S-video and VGA. It also has DVI, which could be adapted to VGA, so you could have 2 VGA outputs on this. It has wireless, 802.11b and G, which I think was pretty standard for the time. A lot of people would have still had 802.11b if they had wireless at all. It has 2 composite inputs with S-video. It has an FM input, and it looks like 2 cable inputs. 2 CATV compatible inputs. Presumably you'd use one for cable and the other for over-the-air. Looks like infrared transmitter out. I guess there was a model that had more. Not sure entirely what that would have been used for, but maybe IRDA transfers. I know it came with a wireless keyboard and mouse. I'm not sure if maybe I require an infrared transmitter and receiver for those, or if it just has them built in. I guess we'll have to find out if they happen to work. Here's a look inside with the cover taken off. You can see it's very highly proprietary. I think it's actually got 2 TV tuner cards in it. I'm trying to think if that's standard PCI or if that's proprietary. I think it's standard PCI. It's a riser card plugged into a PCI slot. It's an Acton wireless card, which is an odd brand. I don't think I've seen their name on wireless. I bought a bunch of old ISA network cards with their name on it, but that's something I've seen recently. And of course, there are 2 tuner cards. I'd love to see Handstar MV-4. Could probably look that up and figure out what those are. Probably hoppage cards of some description or another. I see one bloated capacitor down there. Yeah, you can see there's a bloated cap. It's only one, as far as I can tell, which is not bad. I wonder how much RAM this actually has in it. 256, looks like a pair of 256s, so it's got the original 512 meg still in it. It's awfully tempting to upgrade, because you can upgrade this, I think, up to a maximum of 4 gigs. But only PC 3200, it might not be fast enough to be able to put anything much better than that. Although, no, PC 3200 is DDR400s, that's as fast as it got. Not sure why I was thinking, I think I was thinking of DDR2 for some reason. But that is DDR, so should be pretty upgradable. This is a very large heatsink. I think it is a standard micro ATX form factor. Well, at least the board or the power supply is micro ATX. The board is very much not. I mean, you can tell, obviously, it doesn't have the traditional layout. This is a very proprietary video card as well. I hope all this is going to work. It's been sitting out for a while. I haven't gotten around to working on it. But I guess we'll find out. I'll put the cover back on, flip it around, plug in all the necessary connections I need, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, we're all connected and hopefully ready to go. I have the keyboard for it as well. This is the keyboard it would have come with. There's actually a button on it that apparently you've got to connect it to. There's the specs. I believe it is still good. I guess we'll find out if the keyboard actually works. I'll go to power it on. Guess not. Well, I'll see if I can get it connected. I see a flashing light. Still didn't really work. So we'll just power it on there. Welcome to the HP Digital Entertainment Center. I heard it beep. F1 to go into setup. Although if the keyboard's not connected to it, then that's not going to really matter. It's now going straight into Windows XP, which I believe is the factory installation. Yeah, it's got a nice little dot matrix display in the front, which I may have to clean because it looks like it's a little fogged up. But it's working. See if I can get the keyboard connected. Okay, we've made it into setup. The date and time is actually correct, which I think is kind of impressive. That's a 200 gigabyte hard drive, so that's not bad. I'm not sure why it's using it as a slave device, but whatever. 3 gigahertz CPU, hyper-threaded at least, so at least it's not terrible. From what I've been able to tell, this motherboard does not support any other CPUs, so you're pretty much limited to that, which doesn't surprise me, even though it's incredibly unfortunate. Could go ahead and go to the LAN boot ROM, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave it alone. Check out the hardware monitor. It's not very much in there. That CPU is running kind of hot. Might have to redo the thermal compound situation on that, but it's probably okay. Everything else looks like it's fine. So we'll go ahead and we'll exit. We'll go back into Windows XP. Media Center Edition. Doesn't even give you enough time to select the recovery console if you wanted it. Here's the Media Center remote that it would have come with. Or that it did come with. Pretty standard stuff. Does that have batteries in it? Oh yeah, it does. Looks like it had batteries leaking in at some point. Those are new batteries, so that's not bad. Should hook up some speakers. Really should hook up some speakers. This is very definitely the factory build. From what I've been told, it's just been cleaned up. I am going to have to do some adjusting on it, because it looks like there's been some customizations made that I'm probably not going to keep. Unfortunately, this is not the best view. So, somebody put Safari on it. That's odd. But yeah, it is certainly going to take some work. It's got the Plus Pack. Oh man. Yeah, the fonts on this have been really adjusted. I'll have to see if I can bring that to some semblance of normal. It's not even running at the right resolution. Well, it looks like browsing the web is out of the question because it does not seem as though it wants to work. So, could be a problem with my network, I don't really know. Because I haven't used the restricted network for much on this. I still do not trust it to plug into my main network. I'm probably going to run a malware scan on this. But it doesn't look like there's much interesting otherwise on this machine. I really didn't help, did it? I wish that the buttons for the mouse were beside it. Like right here, or it had a set of buttons here, as well as a set of buttons here. I know why they've done it this way, but it doesn't really, I don't really like it that much. So, realistically, it's pretty much the same. I don't really have much else to say about the subset of hardware, because I get my finger in the way of the camera. It does have a pair of video capture cards. They're both probably not. They might actually be Hoppage WinTV PVR 150s, but they're effectively the same hardware. They certainly use the same driver. If I go and we take a look under sound video, you can see that's what shows up. Are a pair of WinTV PVR PCI 2s. So I don't know whether they work or not, but it's here. Of course, there's not much use that it has, because the world has basically moved beyond this machine. It is running Windows XP Media Center Edition. It says version 2002, even though 2005 is the one that's licensed to it, but whatever. And it is the factory build of Windows. What happens if I push the on standby key? What does it do? It actually goes into sleep mode. That's interesting. Get an orange light. Push the button again. Comes back on. Welcome to the HP Digital Entertainment PC. I think is what that says. Oh, Entertainment Center. And the computer blue screened immediately after doing that. That's good. That probably shows you about the kind of destruction going on the thing here. I don't know. I should really reload it, but unfortunately you can't find drivers. So you're pretty much stuck with this. I wonder if I would power it on from a complete shutdown. Does it do that? Or is that only... Well, that's only when it's actually on. Okay. That's why I wasn't doing it when I powered it up there. See if the computer even still boots. Or if I broke it. But yeah, no, the sun is pretty much set on machines like this. It's a little bit too outmoded for very many practical purposes. I'm sure I can still find something to do with it, though, because it's got good quality audio inputs. So, I mean, it might be a kind of a neat thing to hook up, maybe, and get some files, use it for playing DVDs or something. You know, hook it up to like a 7.1 system. And a television and, you know, use it to play DVDs. Maybe even do some OTA TV, although it's not going to work on this. I'd have to get a converter box, which is probably fine. I did turn on the ambient light on that. I wonder if the screen's actually working now. because I noticed it hasn't changed yet. And it was, oh yeah, there it goes. Now it's displaying the time, which is fine. But I think that's probably it for the video, and there's not much else I can think of to say about the machine. So, neat thing to have. Probably one of the few of these that's still left in existence. Not overly useful these days, unless you can figure out how to get Linux to work with it. But, as far as everything else is concerned, you can't upgrade the motherboard, because obviously it's a proprietary board and all that. So, I think it's actually an Asus, I forget the exact model, I think it's like P5GD-LR or something similar. But it is an Asus motherboard. That's all I have to say. It's a functional PC.